right, let's hit the field.
All right.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
It's Thursday, June 13th, and the Yankees were taking on the Royals in the final game of a 4-game set in Kansas City. Nestor Cortez was on the mound, trying to lead the Yankees to a 4-game sweep. My recap, your reactions, coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back, kid.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I was trying to pull my foot out of the TV screen. Brutal first 6 innings for the Yankees offense today. They were no hit, but they had a late comeback courtesy of Juan Soto, Anthony Rizzo, Austin Wells, Trent Grisham, but they could not hang on. A late collapse by Clay Holmes, and the Royals walk off the Yankees. There aren't many losses that sting worse than when you have a late comeback to take the lead and then blow it. That is tough. So this one's going to sting, but the Yankees still won 3 out of 4 from a very good team, but their flight to Boston, you can bet, is going to be a little quieter now, a little bit more miserable. Ron B says, need a reliable closer. Never liked Clay Holmes as a closer. I know a lot of you agree. Some of you disagree, and that's okay. Reasonable people can agree or disagree on things, but Clay Holmes takes the loss. Despite the loss, though, I felt like the Yankees showed some heart today. You know, it's been great to see them playing with a sense of urgency as an organization and just as individuals. Excuse me. We've seen it reflected in the consistency of the lineup card that they keep running out there for most of the season, something they haven't done in recent years. And a lot of times when you get to the final game of the series that you've already won, in recent seasons, they would punt. They would throw out a punt lineup, give some guys some days off. But this year, they really seem to care about completing the sweeps and just playing, balls to the wall every single game. This year they've been going for the jugular. And I credit a lot of that to the new personalities that the Yankees have brought in. Verdugo, Soto, these guys aren't the type of guys to pack it in a day early. Soto, again, coming through late. Today I felt like the energy was low early in the game. But, sure enough, they showed up late. They showed that heart. And if not for the blown save, we would be celebrating win number 50 right now. But before we get to the recap, I want to spotlight another player who's been making some serious noise in the minor leagues. Augustin Ramirez, 942 OPS in AA. As a catcher, he's got 15 home runs. He's got 44 ribbies. He only had 18 home runs all of last season. That's still a lot for a catcher, but, he's way ahead of that pace. He's got 12 stolen bases, so he can run a little bit. 375 on-base percentage, so he takes his walks. Just 22 years old, and scouts are starting to rave about this guy. And unlike a lot of prospects these days, he doesn't have an astronomical strikeout percentage, just 18% this year. Last year, he only struck out 85 times or so. So, I know that he's been on the radar for some people. And for others, they've been more focused on, Austin Wells and Ben Rice and Jason Dominguez and so forth. But keep an eye on this kid because he's starting to break out as a real prospect. He's for real. Giancarlo is out of the lineup today despite monster home runs in each of the last 2 games. Probably want to have him fresh for the Red Sox series where he mashes in Boston. I'll never forget that grand slam a couple of years ago. I must have watched it 150 times on repeat the next day, just all day long. And with the great bat flip, all-time great Yankee moment in my opinion. Boston not having a great season, but they are in 3rd place. They are 34-34. Their pitching, it was great early in the season, has not been as great lately. Their offense, they got some guys having a good year and some other guys that are not. Devers, he's always good. He's got 13 homers. Tyler O'Neill has 11 homers, but hasn't hit one since May 19th. He missed some games with an injury there. They've got a lot of injuries going on. Tristan Casas is out for a few months. So this series is very winnable. And if the Yankees keep playing their game, I see no reason they can't take 2 or even 3. Luis Gil is scheduled to get the start Friday night, so that should be fun. He's matching up against Brian Bayo, who has the potential to be filthy. He's got good stuff. But I'm confident the Yankees will win that game. But, that's where we're at. Yankees took 3 out of 4 from KC, and now you got to go take at least 2 out of 3 from Boston, and you call it a successful road trip. And then you got Monday off, and then the Orioles are in town, baby. And that's going to be lights out. All right, let's get to the recap.
All right, let's go. Let's get it going.
Got a super chat here, says, Rizzo has to go for the sake of the postseason. He also hit a home run today, so maybe he's coming out of it. He had a hit yesterday, so 2 days in a row with a hit. Anyway, both teams very quiet early. Not uncommon for a day game after a night game. Most of you know that. Everyone's a little sluggish except for the pitchers. Nestor only gave up 1 hit through the first 3 innings. Yankees didn't get their first hit or show any kind of offense at all until the 7th inning. Top 4, Nestor ran into trouble, walk, single, double. Before you knew it, it was 2-0 Royals, and the way the Yankees were hitting and having trouble with Alec Marsh, you just figured this might not be their day. Very nice running catch from Juan Soto in the 5th inning. I remember how much of a concern his defense was when we traded for him, but he's looked outstanding to me out there. Certainly passes the eye test. Doing well in metrics, great arm. Baseball Savant has him in the top 20 to 30% in outfielders in various metrics. The arm, though, is in the top 2 percentile, so it's excellent. Alec Marsh was just, though, absolutely filthy today. 7 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, no runs, 7 strikeouts. Dominating performance. But the first hit came off the bat of Juan Soto in the 7th inning. I feel like we were still waiting for Juan Soto to start to heat up after coming back from that arm injury. We're still waiting for him to catch fire for sure. He was tearing the cover off the ball in San Francisco. Missed the Dodgers series. But since he's come back, we're seeing some hits. We're seeing some walks, but we haven't seen the extra base hits yet. Watch out, Boston. I fully expect him to be peppering balls off the monster. And watch out, Baltimore. Would love for him to catch fire as we head back into our most important series of the young season. Nestor Cortez was good today. He was done after 7 innings, just 6 hits allowed, 2 runs allowed, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Deuces were wild. Lowered his ERA to 3.59. Had a chance to get the win if the Yankees had held on because he was able to complete 7 innings. And then the comeback was in the top of the 8th. So he was the guy who was standing to get the win if Clay Holmes was able to close it out. And that's one of the reasons why most baseball people who look at stats don't really care too much about win-loss record as a vital stat for a pitcher anymore, because a lot of times it can be totally independent of how you pitched. And he pitched, I thought, pretty well today. Give him a nice little round of applause. Top 8, Yankees finally got on the board with a solo home run from Anthony Rizzo.
There it goes! See ya! Gone! See ya!
First home run since May 10th, so over a month. Nice to see him swing the bat better the last couple of days. There was a little snafu in the 9th on defense. Not sure if that was really his fault, but kind of got caught in between. Later in the inning, base hits by Wells, Grisham, and then a ground out by Volpe gave the Yankees a tie score, gave them their second run. And then Soto with a big base hit to put the Yankees ahead. He just seems to come up huge in big situations all year long. Look, with the season Aaron Judge is having, statistically probably going to hit close to 60 home runs, if not more, it's easy to forget that Juan Soto has played at an MVP level himself. And we saw what happened to this lineup without him. Even when he's in there just walking and hitting singles, he's extremely important because the Yankees need those base runners. They need that pressure. But I'm looking forward to the power coming back against Baltimore. That's going to be fun. I'm imagining the packed crowd and the ball sailing towards the upper deck, and you look up at the little scorebug to see how many people were on base, and he's got 2 guys on base, and you're thinking, all right, 3-run homer. So I'm just kind of fantasizing that a little bit. Just don't mind me, talk amongst yourselves. Bottom 8, Luke Weaver worked himself into a jam with a couple of walks, but got a huge strikeout to get out of the inning. The more I watch Luke Weaver, the more I'm reminded of Chad Green. Just reminds me a lot of Chad Green, who's a fan favorite as a reliever. And very just the way their fastballs come out of their hands, very similar. Torres doubled in the ninth, so he continues to be like a vitamin, 1 hit per day. After the home run last night and the good night defensively, he was my pick today. I wanted to see if he could carry that momentum, and it's good to see him finish on a high note, but I was hoping he'd be able to enjoy it more on the flight back. Now he's just going to be thinking about the loss. But bottom ninth, Clay Holmes fell apart, just flushed it down the toilet, and instead of celebrating win number 50, the Yankees suffer a tough walk-off defeat.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Tough day for Aaron Judge, kind of like the stream you're watching. 4K. Took the golden sombrero. Tough day. Yankees only had 5 hits today. I mean, really, it was Alec March was just dominating. He's got a 3.63 ERA. He's a solid pitcher, and he was just on top of his game today. Moon Miss says, it's not the loss, it's how we lost. But hey, you got to look at it this way. There are games throughout the course of the season that are just going to, break the other way. The overall, scheme of things, we won 3 out of 4 against a really good team. We're just coming off of a 4-game win streak. Now you're headed to play Boston, who's 34-34, have kind of overachieved a little bit. They got some injuries. I think the Yankees can take at least 2 out of 3, if not all 3, from Boston. So it's not the end of the world. It's a tough loss. You would have rather been the first team to get to 50. It's going to be a tough flight for the team, but not the end of the world. You took 3 out of 4 on the road from a really good team. And people are starting to recognize that this is the best chance the Yankees have had to win a World Series in a while. Brett Deutsch says, still need a strikeout closer. Pitching to contact is not sustainable. A lot of pressure on the infield. Soft contact finds too much grass. Got to say, I agree with you. I like having a closer that gets swings and misses. I still contend that Clay Holmes would be the best setup man in Major League Baseball. How many times, did Ramiro Mendoza or Alfredo Aceves or, Zach Britton, some of these guys who pitched in the late inning but not closer role for the Yankees at times, did they just get big double plays late in the game? Obviously you had Mariano for all those years. You had Soriano. You had David Robertson for a bit. The Yankees have had a lot of good closers. Rivera, he was a pitch-to-contact guy a lot, but he could still get the strikeout. And his contact was so soft that it didn't really matter most of the time. It mattered in the 0-1 World Series, but he broke so many bats. He wasn't going to give up a lot of shots down the line. Again, did in the 0-1 World Series to Tony Womack, but a lot of times he was just getting those soft ground balls to second base or whatever. Robertson, he was a strikeout closer. Soriano was a strikeout closer. Chapman, obviously a strikeout closer. But, Chapman, I felt walked too many guys. I was never comfortable with Chapman. I want a strikeout guy who has good command as my closer. But Izzy says, played a good series against a good team. We'll take it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Hey.
Andy Williams says, I've been saying this all year. Holmes can't close in big spots. Honestly, it wasn't even that huge a spot. It's the 4th game of a 4-game series. You're going for the sweep. It wasn't like you lose this game and you lose the division or something. It was a tight game, for sure. Depends on how you define big spots. Depends on what your definition of is. Andy Williams says, Holmes is not a closer. Been saying this since he took over the job. Well, he is the closer for the Yankees for now, so he's going to have to figure out a way to get through some of these tight spots. If that means striking out more guys and changing the way he pitches a little bit, that's what he's got to do. The sinker is great, okay? He gets a ton of ground balls. He keeps the ball in the ballpark, but I really want that closer to be able to miss more bats than he does. So, Bernie Cerrito, all over Holmes as well, says Holmes is not a closer, does not have lights out stuff, rarely goes 1, 2, 3. Yeah, again, depends on how you define lights out stuff. He's got great stuff. The sinker is the best sinker in the league, in my opinion. It's 98 miles an hour, ton of break. The slider is wicked, but for some reason, just doesn't miss a ton of bats. He's a ground ball guy. So, and the reason that can be tough for closers too, we talked about this earlier in the year, is that with this extra inning runner on second base, you can't pitch him in extra innings because there's too many ground balls with eyes that get through. Even today, ground ball with eyes down the left field line, and that led to the walk-off. All right, let's get a few more thoughts here.
That ball is high. It is far. It is gone.
Fordanius says, who will Jason replace once his rehab is done? Bad news, Fordanius. His rehab is done. Actually, that's good news, but he is not replacing anybody. He will be up probably when somebody gets hurt or in September. We talked about this in yesterday's game. He officially was optioned yesterday, so his rehab is done. He's at least healthy. Darth Darthius says, people turning on Clay real fast. If you've been here for every podcast like I have, you'll notice that this is not people turning on him suddenly. It's people were cutting him some slack when he was on that unbelievable heater at the beginning of the season. People have always been skeptical of Clay Holmes as a closer because he's a ground ball pitcher, because he's a pitch-to-contact guy. That's not the ideal type of closer that you want. I'm sorry. It's not people turning on him. It's people taking a break from not turning on him. Pamela Davis says, at least the Orioles lost. I did not know that. I didn't even realize they had a day game. Yeah, they lost to the Braves 6-3. Braves had lost 5 in a row, so they were due. Braves 36-30. So taking a huge step back from what they were last season. Orioles now 45-23. So no blood lost in the American League East. Yankees still lead the Orioles by 2.5 games. And the Red Sox, who the Yankees will play this weekend, are 13.5 back. So they're really no threat whatsoever in the East. Prime Cash says Rizzo found his bat. Now he needs to find his defense.
You're a funny guy. I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Tough loss for the Yankees. We're going to wrap it up. Again, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. We're at 39,695 or something like that. So we're closing in on 40,000. We can only get there with your help. So go ahead and like, subscribe, share with anybody who's a Yankees fan. If you enjoy this podcast, we're here after pretty much every game. And we will be here after the game on Friday night, beginning at 6:30 p.m. because the stupid Celtics are in the stupid playoffs or the stupid basketball. Boston. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you next time.